This gathering has been declared a riot. All persons leave the area now.
Okay, welcome back to part 2 of how to play POZ. The only things, we covered most of it in the last one. That video was an hour. But today we have to cover combat. And combat is unfortunately a little bit involved. And also equipment. And there's no way to separate one from the other. So for no reason in particular, we're going to have Jeff fighting Lilith. Here's Jeff and here's Lilith. And right here is Jeff's player board. And as you can see, there are 4 slots. 2 for accessory, 1 for apparel. Apparel is just armor by another name. And 1 for a weapon. Okay. Most of these items are looted from stores. They're just, weapons are scattered around randomly. Clothes are mainly found at the clothing store. So let's go through the clothing store. Let's see, what do we got here? And I don't like this clothing. Let's give him the patchwork overalls. And you can see, and the red at the top says that this is from the clothing store. The yellow in the circle that says apparel says that this is apparel, and it goes right here. Okay, and down here, you can see a little yellow helmet. What does that mean? Okay, the legend is on the back of all the player boards. You can see what they all do. So, the helmet is +1 defense, and that is mainly what apparel does, is defend. Some is better at defending than others, and some also give you bonus abilities. But mostly they all give defense. Mostly just 1. Okay, and well, in addition to being able to loot things, each player will have starting items, and they're very much tailored to the character, right? This isn't the whole thing, but look for these backs: Kim's stuff, Magic Pink stuff, Jack's stuff, Lilith's stuff, Jeff's stuff. Jeff's stuff is a skateboard, right? And what does a skateboard do? Well, according to the legend, the little Magic Pink, crying Magic Pink thing here is +1 versus players. So 1 hit, and I'll explain what that means in just a sec, versus player characters, and the bacon is 1 hit versus the police. And it also says, reads below, it also gives 1 hit versus the medic, right? And medic is the code we're using for young Kyle here. So +1 versus Kyle's. And that's the only, Jeff is the only one who gets that with the skateboard. Okay, and then accessories are a number of things. So let's give him also the putrid bandana, also looted from Filthy Rags, which grants immunity to the effects of befoulment and gas, which are part of combat and which we'll get to in a second. Okay, but using just this, let's do a PvP combat. Okay, let's move this over here and move Jeff onto the board and move Lilith onto the board. And combat is going to be done only with bricks. Okay, player combat is always with the bricks. Okay, and in this case, you're going to have attacker bricks and defender bricks. You can defend with bricks. Imagine a brick hitting a brick in midair. Bricks used for defense. Okay, so what's going to happen is Jeff says, I'm going to attack you, Lilith, and I'm going to throw 5 bricks. You don't throw them yet, okay? Because Lilith has to say, well, okay, geez, if you're going to attack with 5 bricks, I better defend with 5 bricks, otherwise I might lose. The reason we do this in advance is so that people can't boost their, just like throw additional bricks, right? Because whether in the case they lost, oh, well, I lost, well, let me add a couple bricks to that total. No, you can't do that. Simultaneously. Okay, and he throws and she throws, okay? And in this case, he got 2 hits right there, 2 side bricks, and she got 1 side brick. So that's 2 hits and 1 miss. And if we remember, he's also got the skateboard, right, which gives you +1 versus PvP. So 1, 2, 3 hits versus her 1 defense. Subtract this from that, and let me get a board. Lilith takes 2 injuries. Just like that. Okay? And then when it is Lilith's turn, she can choose to retaliate or run away or whatever. But, what happens if Lilith got the higher score? If she gets, let's say she hits 4 and he hit just 1 with the skateboard. Does she do 3 hits to him? No, she doesn't. Okay. Only the attacker may inflict damage. Okay. If she was lucky enough to have armor, then you would subtract that armor from the number of hits, right? So Jeff hits 3 times. Lilith defends with 2. Okay, no, let's give her 2 and 2. But he has a weapon, and she has the unisex dashiki, which is also an apparel item. So that's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 0 damage done. Nobody takes any damage. Okay? And in this way, it's possible to gang up on a character and make them drain all their bricks. And when they have none, then they can't defend themselves and just pummel them into the ground. It happens. Stay good with your teammates. Don't make them too mad. Right. Okay, and then, all right, same deal with the police, right? There are 3 grades of, well, I guess I should say NPC, not necessarily police, because one of them is not a police. Young Kyle here is not a police. What they do, what the police do, and how they do it is all here on the back of the board. You got the Riot Cop, Sergeant Jackson, and the Medic. To keep it simple, Riot Cop is all 4s, Sergeant Jackson's all 5s, and the Medic is all 6s. So the Medic is significantly stronger. Riot Cops are weak, but Riot Cops show up in large groups, and they have gas. So let's take these one at a time. All right. Riot Cops will only show up after the Battle of Hawthorne. They will show up every round from the edge of the board, and they will begin to attack you. All right. I'll do AI in just a sec, but let's do combat. Police do not have hit points, nor do they have bricks, right? So nothing to be depleted. They are all or nothing, and they do combat with this D4 right here to keep the dice as minimal as possible. Just 1 D4. All right. So Jeff, attacking the Riot Cop, must score 4 hits or better. All right. If he scores 4 hits or better against the Riot Cop, then the Riot Cop is defeated, and, well, Jeff is just out bricks. That's all. If he gets 3, nothing happens. Okay, nothing happens. It's as if the combat had never taken place. Right, and even if Lilith moves right after Jeff, he's still 4. You got to take him down in 4 hits. Okay. Which, when you've got enough bonuses toward the end of the game, where you've got, big bonuses to bricks and like huge bonuses. If you're tripping balls on angel dust, Riot Cops can go down pretty fast. There's also an overkill rule, which may not have made it into the manual. I'm gonna have to update it online. There's an overkill rule that says if you do 8 points of damage, you can. Let me get rid of the board here. Okay. So Jeff is here, this cop is here, this cop is here. All right. Cops can be in 2 of the same square, or they can be in adjacent squares. If I score 8 hits on him, I can take him down and another Riot Cop next to him. I mean, theoretically, if you got 12, I mean, I suppose it's possible, you can take down a third one, right? And these go away and they'll be redispatched on the next turn. Right? Right. And they will not hit back on your turn. On their turn, they will attack you or not attack you according to their AI, which I will get to in just a second. And they do not have bricks. They will throw the thing, right? And Riot Cop is just base die, whatever the die shows, okay? and you subtract. So they got a 2. You subtract your armor as always, and then what's left over you take as injuries. Okay. If it is Sergeant Jackson, you will add 1 to this total. If it is the medic, you will attack 2. Okay. One exception to this rule, which I also don't think made it into the manual, and I will have to update it. The medic, which is young Kyle here, will he will never initiate combat with a person. Well, he will never initiate combat at all. I believe there's one card in the Battle of Hawthorne deck. Yes, there is. It's called Ride Along, where Kyle can attack people, right? Proactively. But he is the exception to the rule. He will defend himself. And these are handled sequentially, right? So if you go up against Kyle, you have an opportunity to take him out, right? Say all right, that's 7. So that's more than 6. Kyle is down. If you fail to get 6, all right, Kyle may attack you back immediately, and he does so with his little gun, right? And Kyle has the possibility. Most people have 5 injuries. I believe Jorge has 6, but everybody else has 5. If he rolls a 4, he will add 2 to it, so that's a 6. All right. If you're not wearing any armor, you are dead. He has one-shot you. Even if you are at full health, you are down for the count. Right. Exception to the rule. Exception to the rule. Everybody else, every other cop will do combat on their turn. Kyle will attack back immediately. The manual may be a little bit fuzzy on that point, so I just want to make it clear here. Right? So let's talk about AI. Okay? Each of these guys do different things. Different things. The riot cops, they're going to show up in groups. Okay? How many there are, you want to check the manual for that. Okay? The number of cops that show up is based on the highest score of the highest scoring player. So if you're in the 21 to 30 range, right, then you can there will be your cop cap. There was a maximum of 4 cops per round being dispatched. Okay, and they will be dispatched at the end of the board. Let me show you. Okay, at these markers here, you'll roll a d4 and they go 1, 2, 3, 4 around the board. And if you roll a 2, then that's the edge of the board that they come out of that round, and they'll show up every round. Okay, it's a war of attrition at that point. They're going to take you down, coming from all directions at once. Okay, and what their AI says, they will go for the highest scoring building that they can see. Okay, and in that, what does that mean? That means the highest population, right? As you can see, a tent is worth 1, mysterious pile of bricks is worth 6, and a barricade is worth 8. Okay, nothing is higher than 8. The courthouse is worth 8, but it is at the center of the board. So almost always, if there's a barricade anywhere near that, they're going to go straight for the barricade. All right. So let's talk about barricades. Let's talk about barricades. Oh, and let's talk about movement. First, let's talk about movement. There are hazards in the game. Okay. Some of them are buildings, which we saw last time. Like there is the tire fire is a hazard. And there is the used needle pile is also a hazard. Right. These cops are not smart. Right? If there is one, okay, say for example, you have, this is an illegal place for a barricade, by the way, but just imagine, all right? Say you have the needle pile and the tire fire right there, and they can see that. These do not block line of sight, by the way. I'll get line of sight in just a sec. These do not block line of sight. Neither does this. They will move right onto the hazard. Okay, well, what does that mean? If they move into a hazard, they are automatically killed. He's eliminated. He's eliminated from the game. Right? He'll walk onto that. He's eliminated, and then this is also gone. Okay, and then the next guy, he moves on to this, is eliminated, and this is gone. Can get expensive, but it's a good way for it's a good stopgap versus the police when things get really hairy. The other kind of hazard is the befoulment, right? And that is a big curly poo. There are items that put down befoulments, but mostly this is a Jeff thing. Where's Jeff's board? Yes, Jeff's board. When he gets 7 crapulence, anytime he takes drugs, and he's got lots of drugs, he can drop a deuce in any square. Okay. And what happens here is if the police this is between them and their goal, a befoulment will not kill him. It will not kill a police. It will not kill police, but they will stop and clean it up. So that will halt their movement while he removes this. Okay. Right, and then back to barricades. We didn't cover barricades in the last one, so let's talk about barricades and what they do. You know about the NPCs, right? NPCs can be, you can exchange tents and population for NPCs. Let me grab some. Grab some NPCs. But also, if you have loot items that are a food, a drug, or a medicine, you can exchange them for one NPC, right? And they just conjure an NPC out of thin air, and you can put them where you want. You have to do it at the appropriate time, though. It's during the teach-in. This has to be done, right? So what does this do? The NPCs are basically hit points. They're cannon fodder, right? So say it's the riot police's move. They're next to the barricade. This is their primary target. They're going to move into it. They're going to assault it, right? Every time they do this, they kill one NPC. That's the first line of defense, right? Then he attacks it, an NPC goes down. And then he attacks it, and an NPC goes down. Okay. After there are no NPCs, they will engage with any player that is in the barricade, okay, and attack the player. And each of them, like, boom, they throw dice. Boom, 4 against you. Boom, 3 against you. It's a good way to die. 3 against you. You don't want to be here. Right. Or actually, you do want to be here because once the barricade goes down, there's nothing standing between you and basically the center of your base, right? So you want to. This is where you want to hold them. You want to keep it staffed with NPCs. Is what you want to do, and you want to attack from here and make sure that, you know, you can attack from here. You can attack this guy and take him down, and then when he attacks back, he just kills an NPC. And if you can keep doing that and keep replenishing it with NPCs, then you can hold people off pretty much indefinitely, right? But there's one other kind of hazard that the police have. Riot Cop, as you can see, may use gas. And gas rules are covered in detail in the manual, but we'll explain it again here. Anytime there are 2 or more players in a single square adjacent to a Riot Cop, he will automatically chuck a gas canister in there. Okay? All right, and this is primarily to deal with players bunching up in barricades. All right, well, what happens when the gas canister comes in here? All right. Actually, gas canisters, I didn't cover what befoulments do to players. What befoulment does to a player is the same thing that a gas canister does to a player. If it is dropped in a square while you are on it, nothing happens to you. Nothing bad. Okay? If you remain in this square, if it comes your turn and you remain on the square where there is gas, you are knocked out instantly. Instantly knocked out. So you need to move off. Right? You need to move off. Then gas canisters will dissipate at the end of the round. Befoulments will remain until they're cleaned up, and cleaning it up requires a card, I believe. There's several cleaning supplies. Basically, don't poop in the barricade. Like, don't do that. That's not a cool thing to do. Any productive building, such as the drum circle or the homemade bed that has been pooped on, no longer works until the befoulment is cleaned up. Not so the case. Well, why would you poop in the barricade? I suppose you can. It doesn't stop it from working in this case because it's not. It doesn't manufacture, right? This doesn't make stuff. It's just a defensive place. Okay, so that's what barricades are. And I guess we can talk about checkpoints too. Checkpoints will show up during by an event, right? And they are a barricade for the cops, right? And they will block your movement, and you'll have to burn it down. It's easier to burn down than most buildings, but it's a pain in the butt. And mostly what it does is the checkpoints, you can see right here on these crosswalks here, these are the legal places for checkpoints. They block off all 8 of the cities all 8 of the roads into the city. Right, and so it's an annoyance more than anything else. Something else you have to take down. They will dispatch riot cops also, up to cop cap, but automatically spawn on checkpoints, I believe. Yes. Right. So I think it's about time to talk about line of sight. Line of sight. Let's get an actual building in here. Not the right building. Oh no, let's get the right building. Okay, here is the theater. It goes in like this. And this black line that has been double barred with blue, right? I had to put the blue line on it because playtesters kept like walking right through it. Like, no, you can't do that. It's a wall. But I couldn't see the wall. All right. Well, I'll double bar the wall. Now you can see it. Now you can't say you can't see it. Same rules as in other games. If any part of your square you can draw a straight line to any other part of the square without cutting across one of these blue lines, then it is within line of sight. Riot cops and Officer Jackson will use line of sight. Okay, they will attack the highest. They will make for the highest value building in their line of sight, which really means barricade first, and then if there's no barricade in the way, the highest value thing that they can see at that point is the courthouse, and they'll make straight for it. And if you lose the courthouse, your game is over, right? And you all go to Guantanamo and gargle bleach for the rest of your life. Right, so riot cops use line of sight in that way. Officer Jackson right here, if you see, he's right here. He is always active from the beginning of the game. He'll be your primary threat, like up until the time that you take down the courthouse. He's not that difficult to defeat if you plan ahead, but he just keeps coming back, right? And his AI says that he will attack the most crapulent player in his line of sight. Okay, so if you have, let's put in here, here's Lilith, here's Magic Pink, and here's Jeff. All right, 6, 5, and let's say 10. All right, he's got 10 crapulence. He's the worst. He's the worst player, and Officer Jackson would make straight for him, but he can't see Jeff. Right, he can only see the highest crapulent player that he can see is Magic Pink. So he's going to go straight for Magic Pink and jump on her, jumper, and he moves pretty fast too. He's as fast as the fastest player, so he'll get you. All right. Now, what are these? These are security cameras. There are a bunch of them. There's more than necessary, actually. I'm not sure why I did that. But they go at the cardinal compass points, north, south, east, and west. And what they do is they extend line of sight. Okay? Mainly for Officer Jackson. So, score 6, score 5, score 10. Security camera extends his line of sight, so he's going to make straight for Jeff. Boom, 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 boom. Now, on his way to Jeff, he's going to run into Magic Pink. Is he going to go past her? No. If he runs into her first, he's going to engage her first. That's a good way to throw people off. Like you can throw off a tail by having the as soon as he enters the square with her, he will attack. Okay. So what do you do about the security cameras? Security cameras can be taken down just like a dumpster, just like with arson and just like looting. 3 hits with bricks. 3 hits with bricks. There you go. 1, 2, 3. Boom. Security cameras down. And now you can slink around the back alleys of the POZ, and Officer Jackson cannot see you, probably. And they never come back. And there are items, I believe, orange spray paint. You can use to disable cameras. I believe there's a card also called Block Drop, which you can use to take out a security camera. Okay. And suppose it's a good time to mention what happens when you get knocked out. Okay, so here's your player board, and here are your injuries. Okay, when your injuries, this is not death right here, this is. Okay, when you get here, what happens to you depends very much on who did it. Okay, if a player takes your last injury, you are knocked out. Knocked out. Okay? If Officer Jackson inflicts your last injury, you are arrested. And if a riot cop, actually if anybody inflicts your last injury during the, any NPC, or by NPC I mean cops and or Kyle, during the Battle of Hawthorne inflicts your last injury, you are dead. You're out. You're eliminated. And also, anytime Kyle shoots back at you, if he inflicts your last injury, then you are dead. Okay, so what does that mean? All right, let's go. We use one at a time. Arrested is the most common occurrence. If Officer Jackson here inflicts your last injury, you've been arrested. Now what? Arrested player loses 1 full turn. That means this turn, the end of this round, and all of the next round. Okay, while they are processed and deloused. Arrested player loses 5 crapulence. This is the only thing that will lower your score. Well, there are events, but this will also lower your score. And then you move the arrested player to jail. Okay, you saw jail last time. The jail is in the courthouse. Your health is crapulence, jail. Yes, you're at full health because they're going to feed you in there, and also. Any weapon that you had equipped, what's a weapon? Here's a weapon. Overclock Vape is a weapon. That's Jack's weapon. Any weapon that you had equipped while you were, when you were arrested, the cops will take and they'll throw it in the garbage. Where you can fish it out, out of the dumpster. Arrested player contracts 1 disease. You saw diseases last time. You take a disease and you put it in one of your slots and when you want. And after your jail time is up, you are re-released. Pretend this is the courthouse. You're re-released right in front of the courthouse, right there. Okay, so it's catch and release, just like the justice system in Portland in real life. You're just out the next day, no bail. Just let you go, but you don't get to keep your weapon. Okay? If you are arrested. What if you've been knocked out? Okay, if another player inflicts your last injury, then you are knocked out. Okay? Put the character on his side, like that, to indicate that they are knocked out. And this is actually worse than going to jail. Substantially worse. In this case, you remain unconscious like this for 1 full round. Okay, the knocked out character becomes depressed. So, vroom, all the way to the bottom here, which is double jeopardy. You lose your entire next turn. You got to stay knocked out like this your entire next turn. And anybody can... There are a lot of bad things that can happen to you while you are knocked out. Steve has an ability where he can extract... this is Steve right here. Steve has an ability where he can extract adrenochrome from characters that have been knocked out. So he'll come and juice you if you've been knocked out, and that's a drug that gives him pretty good bonuses. And also, Magic Pink can snuggle you, right? Which you might like. Who knows? It's basically scoring for her, and diseases for you. And right, stealing. They can't steal anything that has been equipped, right? So the opposite of being arrested, right? Anything in your accessory slot is fine because that's like you're wearing it. But anything that is in your backpack, that's in your hand, like items in your hand, any player who walks up to you, including the person who just knocked you out, can take it all of it. He can keep it in his hand. You're capped at 7 cards usually, unless you have some kind of container of some kind, like a shopping cart or a boho tote or something like that. But they can just take it and discard it if they want to. Take it and use it, or well, they can't use it, but they can take it and discard it that round. And multiple characters can walk up to your body and just do horrible things to it while you're out. Don't get knocked out. Okay. And if you are killed, well, what happens if you're killed? Same deal, right? In this case, turn your card over to indicate that you're dead, right? Otherwise, it just looks like you're knocked out. Lay your character miniature on the side to indicate that you are dead. The square your character occupied becomes befouled. Befouled with death. This is now a befouled square. So it's going to be difficult for players to move into this square, because if they move into this square, they get knocked out unless they come and clean it up. Characters that are dead may not be... I don't think they can. I'll have to check the rules. I don't think they can... No. You cannot extract adrenochrome from a dead player, nor can you molest them. But you can steal from them, everything. And dead characters may be stolen from. And that'll stay until it'll stay on the board until this is cleaned up and all your stuff is gone, and then you just will remove it from the board because there's nothing left. Okay. What have I left out? Covered line of sight. Covered all the AI. Oh, let's talk about Kyle's AI, the medic's AI. Okay. The medic, 6 hits to defeat. 6 movement, very fast. 1d4 combat dice. Hits very hard. Okay. Primary target, though, he will not attack you. He's not interested in attacking you. He will target the nearest fire. And that means a building that is on fire. Let me put this building on fire. Let me set this building on fire. Right? Buildings that are on fire, dumpsters that are on fire, or tire fires. You can lure him away if you want to. Any fire, right? He's like Smokey the Bear, Kyle does not use line of sight. It is the closest fire anywhere on the map. So. Right, in this case, the closest fire is the building, right? Even though the fires are way over here, the whole building is assumed to be on fire. So he'll walk up to the fire and stop, okay? And do nothing. The players have 1 round, can use this round to try to interfere with him, right? If he has to defend himself, or if he has to do anything other than stand there next round, during this round, he may not put out fires next turn. Right. So even if you attack him and you lose, he's been interfered with, and he can't put out fires. But if he's left alone for an entire round, then on his turn he'll remove 1 flame token per turn until the fire is out. If it is a burning dumpster, it goes back to being a non-burning dumpster, and if it's a tire fire, it is removed. Tire fire is not expressly mentioned in the manual. That was an oversight, so I'm filling it in now. Okay? And I think that covers it. Did I leave anything out? Let me think. Oh, let's talk about dumpsters. We talked about dumpsters in a previous round. I just want to clarify that these are the bonuses that you get from a burning dumpster: 4 against players, 4 against police, and 3 to arson. Right. So, me being on Magic Pink, right? I'm going to push the burning dumpster into the riot cop here, and this must be part of an attack, right? You don't get just like 4 free hits against police with. It has to be part of an attack, so you have to have at least 1 brick to throw. Okay, so you just, oh wow, that was 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's not so bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 7. Unfortunately, that still only takes out 1 riot cop. But if you did one better, overkill rules, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2 riot cops go down, even if they're in adjacent squares. Boom, boom. Okay, so you can stack modifiers, and that's really how that's really how you want to get this done. Is if you have like a drug like angel dust or crystal meth, and then you also have the burning dumpster, and you're hypermanic, and you have the bagpipe flamethrower and all that stuff. Modifiers just stack and stack and stack and stack, and you can take out a whole bunch of guys at once. But the effects are mostly only temporary. There are very few very strong weapons. I think that covers it. Oh yeah, Putrid Bandana, right here, protects from befoulment and gas. So if you got this, you're immune to poop and gas. And also the Cybergoth Respirator, which belongs to Kim, something she starts with. Right. Just because she thinks it looks cool. Protects against befoulments and gas. And I think that covers everything. There are events in the Battle of Hawthorne that will allow the police to use ranged attacks. In that case, the range will be specified on the card. They're a plot, right? They're a plot. And what it says is that they can shoot you. Okay, when you get shot, you cannot throw bricks to defend yourself, right? Your armor defense does apply, but otherwise you just take damage. When I think the card, it's not enough is enough. I forget the name of it. There's a couple of events that allow Officer Jackson and Kyle to use their guns to shoot people, and it's just all the way across the map. And there are a couple of items, I believe the soup can and the concrete milkshake, that also have a ranged attack. In the case of a cop, that means instant knockout. So a riot cop will be removed from the game. Officer Jackson and or young Kyle would be eliminated for a round if they get hit by one of these things. And a player gets knocked out. It's instant knockout, I believe. Yes. Rather strong thing. No. It's you throw 1 brick, and if it hits, then it's instant knockout. So it's a 1 in 3 chance, I believe. It was automatic. It was too strong, so I added a little bit of chance to it. Okay. Yeah, I think that covers it. If anybody has questions, I guess I can do a video answering said questions, but beyond that, I believe that covers every topic. Thank you for joining me, and talk to you later.